I've mentioned on the podcast and in class recently that I'm super fired up about LSAT teaching in a way that I haven't been fired up for a really long time. And I think it's because I'm teaching online now and I couldn't quite figure out why. So I started brainstorming to make a list of all of the things that I love about teaching online. And I started with a list here and I ended up filling up my entire whiteboard. So I want to just talk to you a little bit about why I think online LSAT is better. And some of you might think that this is a sales pitch. It is true that I'm selling an online LSAT class, but just because it benefits me does not mean that I'm wrong. I have lots of good reasons why taking an LSAT class online is better than taking one in person. I've highlighted some of the ones that I thought were the most important. First one right here, there's more classes. We're now offering live stuff through the LSAT Demon 7 days a week. You can join us on Zoom and study. In a live classroom class, there's no way you're going to have options 7 days a week, but now we can easily offer you things 7 days a week, and we just actually added some stuff this week. So I just am so happy that we're able to engage with you every day now. What else is awesome? Student control over the learning experience. The class that I teach on Sundays is 5 hours straight, and I don't expect that people are going to really be able to study LSAT for 5 hours straight, but we have it scheduled in a way that you can do games for an hour, logical reasoning for an hour, reading comp for an hour, and then we do more games, and people can come and go. So if you want to stop and just focus on games, you can just leave the Zoom. You can pause the Zoom. You can turn off your camera. You can turn off the sound. You can just work on whatever you want to work on. I don't need to take any, I'm going to try to erase this stuff as I go so I don't say the same thing twice. The fact that students can watch videos of the class immediately after class and rewatch anything that they missed during the class is amazing. I think it's a much better experience from the student's perspective. Yes, all the meetings get recorded and they go on to the Demon website after class. What else? The fact that we can automatically break people into small groups. When I used to divide people into small groups in my live classes, it was impossible to get people to break out of their little cliques with their friends. And I would end up always with like the real low performing students talking to the other real low performing students and the high performing students talking to the really high performing students. And some of that can be good sometimes, but you do that naturally anyway. And with the fact that I can break you into small groups automatically in Zoom, it means that and it takes 1 second, by the way, to do this. And now you have to break up. And the benefit of that is that you get to make study friends worldwide. When I duck in and out of these groups, it's like, oh, she's in Canada and she's in Florida and he's in Hawaii and they're all over the world and they're just immediately working on LSAT stuff together and making friends and being able to like get together later in the week for their own groups. So I love the ability to break people into small groups automatically. Some of this stuff is just silly. Let me hammer through some of these. I can't tell you how many chargers were left in my classroom in San Francisco and my classroom in LA. People are leaving chargers, jackets, water bottles, umbrellas, leaving all their shit everywhere, having to come back to the front desk of the hotel. Hey, did I leave my jacket? And now you're just home, so you don't have any of that shit. How about this one? No expensive ass lunches. People used to, when I taught my class in Union Square, San Francisco, people used to have to spend like $18 on some shitty salad that they would get in Union Square. Now you've got your own refrigerator right there. You can do whatever you need to do for food. There's no dumb long lunch break so that you can go overpay for food. Speaking of that, you also don't have to smell each other's gross food in class. People are kind of disgusting, you know? And so when everybody's like packed into class, I let people eat because of course, like it's not human to not let people have snacks or whatever, but then it's real annoying when people have smelly stuff or loud stuff or whatever. Don't have to deal with that online. No need for breaks at all. I already said that. Of course, you can always take a break anytime you want. Go to the bathroom, whatever. Walk away from the camera. Do what you got to do. Come back. Totally fine. Hey, turn your camera and sound off and take the laptop in there with you. That's fine. I won't tell anybody. This is a really good one. I find online that people are less afraid to ask questions. That's the only thing I want as an LSAT teacher is I want you to ask questions. And online, I find that people are it's just easier for them to do that. They can ask questions out loud anytime. When they do, then their face pops right up on my screen. In Zoom, everyone always has the best seat in the house. So if you ask a question, your face pops up onto my entire screen with your name, and I get to just like immediately get to know you. I've noticed that without even trying, I know people's names now. And as a teacher, it used to be one of the hardest things that I would have to deal with is I've got a new class here in San Francisco or there in San Francisco and a new class here in LA. And I would have to like study people's faces and try to memorize their names. And now in Zoom, your name's always there and I see your face, I see your name, and I learn your name like the first time you come to class. It's awesome. I love it that people can ask questions in the chat as well. There's always a chat running on the side. I'm not looking at it constantly because I don't want to get too distracted, but I do check in the chat from time to time. And I see not only are people asking questions, which it's a perfect way to ask questions because it doesn't like interrupt the flow of the discussion or whatever. So people will dump questions in the chat. And I never would have predicted this, students in the class are actually responding and helping the student who asked the question in the chat as we're going. So I get to continue to do my thing and have whatever conversations I'm having with the class. Meanwhile, the class can have its own side discussion over here in the chat without breaking any kind of a flow. It's awesome. So yeah, I'm learning names, got that. No, just another little human irritation thing. People in classes would drive me nuts and drive the other people in class nuts with pencil tapping, chomping on ice. There was this one dude in my class in San Francisco a few years back who would constantly just be chomping on ice, and it was awful. I actually had to ask him to stop that. But other people chew gum. You get the little whispers in the back of the room. That always would piss me off. None of that's happening anymore. You can chat to each other if you want, but you're not going to interrupt me by doing that, and you're not going to interrupt the flow of the whole group by doing that. That's another reason why I love teaching online. The mute button, when people leave, please be careful, y'all. Keep your mute on if you're not going to like actually be saying something. But when people have background noises or if people want to have their own conversations or whatever, it's real easy for me to mute people. I try not to do it when someone's actually asking a question, but I have had once or twice where the question was going a little longer than I wanted it to go, and now I can just mute you and start talking. I'm only going to do that when I think that the whole room benefits, but I will use the mute button from time to time. Let's see, students helping each other in the chat. No commuting to class. I've said this one a million times. This is a big one. If you're thinking of signing up for some stupid local LSAT class, you're going to have to drive there. You're going to have to park, maybe have to pay for parking. You're going to have to drive home. All that time you could be studying instead. And I'm almost embarrassed that we didn't make this switch sooner, because I feel like my classes everybody is just using their time so much more efficiently now without having to meet at a certain place. It's wild. People would drive from like Fresno to San Francisco to take a class. That's so dumb. Don't do that. Instead, take the class online. It just makes way more sense. How about that one? No cold and flu transmission. The reason why we did this in the first place is so that we could avoid the coronavirus. And I hope everybody is staying safe and staying home, and we're going to get through this whole thing together. But I am positive that cold and flu was transmitted in my class every single time. Hey, I was as guilty as anybody else. You don't want to miss class, so you come to class sick. I don't want to miss teaching class, so I would teach sick. Are you kidding me? I'm up at the front of the room, like sniffling, blowing my nose, coughing, and meanwhile I'm like yelling at the whole class full of people for 5 hours. And I would do that while I was sick. I'm sorry. I apologize. I should not have done that. But I would do it because I wanted to give you the class that you had paid for. And now if I have to teach sick, you know what? I will. I'm not getting sick because I'm not going anywhere. So I'm not going to get sick. But if I did get sick, I wouldn't get you sick because I'm teaching online now. Even after the coronavirus thing is over, y'all, this is where I'm going to be. You're going to find me online teaching in the LSAT demon. Sorry this video is so long. I really do believe that online teaching is better for a million reasons, and I hope you'll join me in the LSAT demon. Thanks.